We begin in Britain, where votes are being counted in what had been billed as one of the most unpredictable parliamentary elections in recent history. Now, the polls closed 3 hours ago, and the first exit polls were indeed a surprise. They put the ruling Conservative Party with a projected 316 seats, well ahead of the opposition Labour Party, which is projected to win 239 seats in the House of Commons. That is still short of a parliamentary majority, but would make it much easier for Prime Minister David Cameron and his Conservatives to form another government. All the opinion polls before the election had predicted a much closer result, with a likely majority for anti-conservative parties.
I'm not in shock, but this exit poll isn't very clear at the moment, to be honest. I assume there'll be a Tory majority, though.
I think I'm quite surprised for the SNP how much they've increased in numbers and how much the Lib Dems have actually lost in numbers. Really quite surprised.
I am a Green Party member, but I think I would like to see the Conservatives taken out of government. I think it's time for a change. I'd like to see a coalition involving Greens and Labour.
For a number of reasons. One, to tackle vested interests in the media. Two, for a stronger and fairer economy. And three, to tackle the housing crisis.
Those same exit polls suggest a huge victory for the Scottish Nationalist Party, led by Nicola Sturgeon, on a clearly anti-neoliberal platform. The exit polls suggest the SNP would take 58 of 59 seats there in Scotland, wiping out the Labour Party in one of its strongest bastions. It is the dramatic rise of the Nationalists since last year's referendum on independence for Scotland that has changed the political landscape in Britain. We remind you, though, that these are only projected results and that a hung parliament still remains a real possibility.
In UK elections, an absolute majority happens when a party has won at least 326 out of 650 seats in the House of Commons. In the event that no party gets that number, a hung parliament is formed, which means that no party has the majority of seats available. This means that without other parties, the one party getting the most seats in the elections might not have enough votes to pass legislation. In this event, a coalition can be formed by the leading party, being it the Conservative or the Labour Party. If there's no ground for a coalition, the party with the most seats will have to start negotiation with other parties.
And anti-austerity protesters clashed with police in London as voters went to the polls, and they shouted, quote, "We want real people in power," and, quote, "no more lies." Protesters are unhappy with the Conservatives' push for austerity. The Conservatives portray themselves as the party of jobs and economic recovery. The Conservatives have admitted that they will have to carry out deep social cuts in social spending to achieve their aim of eliminating Britain's budget deficit. John Rees is a leader of the anti-war movement in Britain. He tells teleSUR that the Labour Party's failure to fight austerity is really what has led to its collapse and to the rise of the Scottish Nationalists.
It's too close to the other parties. The British establishment now ranges between a Tory party and a Liberal party that have pushed through the austerity measures of the last 5 years, and a Labour opposition that wants austerity light, that wants to do the same cuts but more slowly. And that's not an attractive ideological opposition for voters. They don't see why they should turn out for a Labour Party which is that close to its opposition. Now, something interesting has happened, though, during the course of the election itself. And that is because of the eruption of the Scottish National Party into the election. It's meant that the traditional parties, rather than pursuing an electoral strategy, which they've all done for 20 years now,